Have you ever wondered why many adults seem to struggle managing money and making sound financial decisions? Whether it's poor money habits like indulging in impulsive spending, having little to no savings, or trying to keep up with the Joneses, what causes many adults to go broke despite having successful careers and earning a good level of income? Let's break down 8 reasons why many adults are broke, struggling to get by month to month. Number 1. Lack of clear financial goals. Now, for most people, having goals like what career choice to pursue or fitness goals like how much weight they would like to lose seem pretty obvious. But when it comes to personal money management, many people just don't have any kind of plan for their money. They simply get by based on what's in their bank account at any given day. It's important to realize, though, that having financial goals is like having a GPS for your finances, helping to guide you in making sound financial decisions ahead, while keeping you from going into the ditch of financial disaster. Now, these goals could vary in many ways, from how much to save or invest, paying off debt, saving for a down payment on a house or a vacation, and so many more. However, the more specific they are to your individual needs and situation, the more effective they become. To begin, ask yourself where you'd like to see yourself financially, say 3 or 5 years from where you're currently at. What is your most urgent or important financial goal that you need to attend to now versus later? What are your current financial priorities, and will these help you to achieve your desires in the time frame you chose? For example, saying you want to be debt-free is great, but not likely to be easily achieved. However, writing down that you would like to pay off $10,000 of credit card debt over the next 3 years and having a monthly breakdown of the payments is a goal that is more than likely to be achieved. Therefore, if you find yourself struggling financially, check to see if you have any goals set to fix your situation and how specific they are. Number 2, don't pay themselves first. This concept of paying yourself first was made popular by the best-selling book, The Richest Man in Babylon. For many broke people, this goes completely against their hardwired thinking of spending everything first and saving or investing anything that's left over. So, why is it important to adopt a mindset of paying yourself first, you might ask? Well, if you think about it, you put in all the hard work week after week working, and when your paycheck comes, the government has already taken its cut for taxes. Next, you prioritize your bills, debt, or loan payments while you end up at the bottom of the pile. Shouldn't it be the other way around, since you put the work in that you should be getting paid first? As an example, many people know Robert and Kim Kiyosaki's story of how they went from being broke to super wealthy. One of the strategies that helped them break out of the broke lifestyle was paying themselves first. The one thing that changed for them was hiring a bookkeeper who informed them that they needed to start paying themselves first, regardless of the bills due. By following her advice, they began setting aside 10% of their income every month into a savings account for investing, and another 10% into a separate savings account regardless of whether they had enough money to pay the bills on time. Over time, they were able to use these funds to start their investing journey, and the rest is history. The key to success with this process is to automate it so that your emotions don't get in the way. Setting up automatic withdrawals from your bank account on a specific schedule to a separate account that you designate for investing or whatever goal you choose to work on can be achieved quite easily. The key is to start early and then create a plan for where you will invest the savings. Number 3, don't have a budget or spending plan. Now, many people hear the word budget and immediately turn their minds off on the subject. But if we really think about it, a budget is simply a guide or roadmap that helps to define your income and spending habits. In today's world, we are bombarded by advertisements every which way we turn. Without clearly defined boundaries for our money, it's just a matter of time before somebody talks us out of turning over some of it, usually in a moment of poor judgment that we tend to regret later. According to an article on credit.com, almost 30% of Americans reported on a survey they didn't think they needed a budget. If you don't have a way to track your income and expenses, how do you know whether you're spending too much or you're not making enough money? Many people likely believe they have an income issue, but if they really did some digging, It would soon become apparent that it's actually the unplanned spending that's the issue. Sitting down and actually coming up with a budget plan can be quite uncomfortable at the beginning, but it doesn't have to be. There are many different resources online to fit different styles and preferences. Trying out different methods to see what fits can be a good way to get started since each person's situation is unique to them. Whether you earn a lot or a little, having a plan of how you spend your money before it hits your bank account can help create peace of mind that you'll not spend what you don't have. Number 4. Don't have a plan to cover emergencies. Emergencies, especially those of a financial nature, are things that many adults like to keep on the back burner until they rear their ugly head at the worst possible moment. According to an article on Fortune.com, 57% of Americans reported they would be unable to come up with $1,000 to cover an emergency, while the average cost of an unexpected emergency in the U.S. is $1,700 per Business Insider. We all hope for the best in life, but the reality is, cars do break down, a loved one gets sick and requires surgery, companies underperform and let go of their staff, plus so many more. By not planning how to cover unexpected emergencies, you're literally setting yourself up for a potential financial disaster. What causes many people to go broke when an emergency hits is trying to pay for the unexpected expenses with borrowed money. In an emergency, borrowed money usually does not come cheap unless you have a rich, friendly uncle willing to foot the entire bill. The options are also limited to methods like using high-interest credit cards or obtaining loans that might be offered at sky-high interest rates. People even resort to selling personal possessions they would not have considered parting with. The problem with borrowing money you never planned for is that you're not likely to have a plan for when to pay it back. A simple solution to avoid being caught up like this is to plan ahead. Consider starting an emergency fund with as little as $10 a week into a separate savings account that you don't access often. Over time, you can grow the amount you save, but the key is to start now before that unfortunate event in the future pops in on you. Number 5. Accumulate bad debt. In life, there are generally speaking 2 forms of debt. Good debt is money that you borrow to invest and turn it into more money. This would be like investing in rental real estate. Bad debt, on the other hand, involves buying things that lose value once purchased. Such items include cars, clothes, electronics, just to name a few. This type of debt usually leads to most people being broke and staying broke, living paycheck to paycheck in spite of how much money they make. Accumulating bad debt leads to being stuck in the spending trap, only working to cover the minimum payments as more debt is racked up. Getting behind on payments leads to higher interest rate charges, plus late fees that only compound the issue. As Warren Buffett famously said, if you find yourself in a hole, the best thing to do is to stop digging. If you find yourself burdened with heavy loads of debt, take a pause and assess your situation. Rather than trying to make more money without addressing how you got into the debt, take time to evaluate how you got here. There's always a way out as long as you're willing to be honest with yourself and seek out solutions. If you have a friend or someone you trust that seems to be good at managing their money, reaching out could be a first step in seeking a better future financially. Number 6. They have expensive habits. Most people like the thought of owning nice things, and there's nothing wrong with that. The problem shows up in the way we choose to acquire them. Choosing to pay for expensive items like designer clothes, high-end resorts, or luxury cars with heavy loads of debt will cause anyone to end up being broke paying for these items. With the challenge of social media influencers flaunting an expensive lifestyle, it's easy to be seduced into wanting to follow their lead. Unfortunately, there are broke people who like to appear rich and are willing to go into debt to maintain a certain image or lifestyle. As long as they can make the payments for that expensive car or home, to them it is worth it. Others spend whatever little money they have chasing their lucky break playing the lottery. It would actually be easier to take that money and save it in a high-yield savings account, as it will yield far better returns. Before you splurge on the next high-priced item, take a moment and ask whether it's worth the stress that you'll put yourself through with the monthly payments, not to mention the interest. Number 7. Keeping up with the Joneses. Today, it's very easy to compare ourselves with others, especially due to social media's influence, and see what's missing in our lives. We might be surrounded by coworkers, peers, or neighbors who seem to be doing much better financially than us. By comparing ourselves with others, it can cause us to desire a better lifestyle, leading to poor financial choices depending on how we go about it. Broke people who are caught in this trap are willing to go above and beyond what they can comfortably deal with financially to get the latest and greatest. Whether it's the latest car model, designer handbag, or clothes, the list is endless of how people stay broke trying to live up to someone else's lifestyle. The problem is, the broke person does not even know how the person they're competing with is able to afford their lifestyle. They could be just as broke as they are. Other consequences of living this way include living with stress and anxiety over the added pressure of having enough funds to pay for the lifestyle. Also, constantly comparing oneself to others is likely to lead to dissatisfaction, leading to poor habits like impulsive spending. The key is to focus on what qualities and values make you unique, being grateful for what you have even as you desire to improve your situation. Number 8. They don't plan for the future financially. When we're young, thoughts of being older and not as healthy or active someday seem so distant in the future. Also, living in a culture driven on instant gratification blinds us from how quickly time goes by. The truth is, most of us are going to be around for quite a while. In fact, the life expectancy in the US in 2023 was reported as 79 years. This is one reason that keeps people broke in their golden years by not doing proper planning during their working years. Not having a plan for how you'll pay for expenses later in life could be setting you up for a financial disaster. Government programs are not guaranteed to be able to keep up with the demands of paying for retirement benefits for years to come. Creating a plan of how you will cover your living expenses in the later years is not only financially smart, but will also help lighten the responsibility for your loved ones having to fully care for you. The earlier you start, the less you have to save up initially and invest towards this goal. Plus, you put the power of compounding interest to work on your behalf. So remember to allocate funds to take care of your future too. Recognizing and acknowledging these 8 reasons that keep most people broke is the first step towards breaking out of a life of financial struggle to one of stability and peace. By understanding the root causes that lead to living a broke lifestyle, anyone can take steps towards creating a financially empowered future. Thank you for watching. If you got value out of this video, consider leaving a comment below. Check out our other videos on money management. Like the video and subscribe.